Hello everybody. So today's video is titled Hymns Still a Steal. I still find this stock dirt cheap, especially now that we trended back towards the 25 bucks. This is a stock that peaked at around 34. I find the stock still as compelling as in 2024. I think we're going to have a wonderful 2025. So this is my first coverage of HIMS for 2025. And let's go. Let's begin with the financials. This is what my viewers prefer, the financial. HIMS is one of these companies that I came to discover because it was cheap, and it always came up cheap in my tracker, and it still comes up cheap in my tracker. In fact, as you know, on my Patreon, I share this big spreadsheet where I have all of these stocks, and I have this super gem category. And so a super gem, to me, it has to have certain criteria. It has to exceed a rule of 40. It has to be inexpensive on enterprise value over gross profit over revenue growth. It has to have outstanding growth, preferably more than 30% and or 30%. And it has to have outstanding gross margin, profitability. It has to kind of have it all. And if you look at the top four, out of the top four, three of them are healthcare stocks, and HIMS is one of the cheapest, trading at a 0.1 and achieving a rule of 40 of 66. So HIMS is my third super gem, but it's actually my second super gem if you were to eliminate GigaCloud. And I know a lot of people, and they're probably right, a lot of people ignore GigaCloud because GigaCloud has too many operations in China. So HIMS is really the second cheapest after LifeMD. And you know, I own LifeMD too. I like that stock for a smaller play, but HIMS is my biggest position out of LifeMD, HIMS, and Transmedics. I don't own GigaCloud. I do have Transmedics as well. I like this stock very much too, although a totally different sector, but still in healthcare. Healthcare disruption is coming, and healthcare stocks are very cheap. They're ignored by the market. This is not surprising that out of four stocks, the top three are in the healthcare fields. The market is sleeping on these stocks. The analysts are too legacy. They're legacy thinking. They're thinking in the old way. They're missing the 0 to 1 disruptions that are happening in the sector of healthcare. And oh boy, is HIMS disruptive. So let's get started and let's talk about HIMS. So as I said, HIMS is a business that is cheap. It's predicted to grow revenues, grow sales at 53% over the next 12 months. And it currently has a 79% gross margin, 13% EBITDA margin. EBITDA margin is my proxy for cash flow. And you may think, oh, that's going to go down. Well, actually, for revenue, right? You may think it's the law of large numbers dictates that revenue should drop a little bit after quarter over quarter, especially when you go 50%. That is not the case for HIMS. Revenue is accelerating. If you look at the revenue line for Q3 2024 over Q2 2024, it was growing steadily and it started taking off in Q2 and Q3. Revenue is accelerating, believe it or not, on this company. This is very rare, especially starting from this base. Yet this stock is only trading at 2.56 times forward revenue, close to 4 times regular revenue, so very cheap on a price to revenue basis, price to sales basis. Enterprise value, of course, for HIMS is roughly the same as market cap because they do not have that much debt, if any. HIMS is a subscription business, so this is something that a lot of my viewers are going to love. It's a subscription business. You fight for the business, you fight to make the sale once. You make the sale once, and once the sale is made, it's recurring. People forget about it. And a lot of the ailments, the health issues, that the minor health issues, because HIMS focuses on the minor stuff, a lot of these health issues require perpetual medications or perpetual treatment. Some of them don't, like weight loss, for example. They aren't always perpetual, although people get back in. But most of the revenue for HIMS, as far as we're concerned, is recurring because the treatment is perpetual. And if you follow HIMS, you know, for example, a few conference calls ago, this company, of course, got started with ED drugs, and the CFO was saying, well, we still have a bunch of business from the first year cohort, the 2017 cohort, people who got their ED drugs via IMSS in 2017, who still have the subscription 7 years later. They're happy, they're not changing. So if you recruit someone for any of these recurring health issues, you're going to have the subscription for a very long time. That's why the business is subscription model is 95% recurring. HIMSS has 2 million customers. Why is that a big deal? Well, when you sell B2B, when you're not direct to consumer, and a lot of healthcare has this issue, you run a major concentration risk. So, for example, if you're in the healthcare business and say you make a medical device company, well, one of your biggest customer is Medicare. CMS, right? The Medicare services is one of your biggest customers. If overnight CMS decides to not pay for your product, decides to change the billing codes and not reimburse you, then overnight you may lose 50%, 70% of your business. This cannot happen it should not happen, no financial advice, but it should not happen for a business like HIMSS, because HIMSS has 2 million customers, 2 million independent consumers who make the decisions on their own and who decide on their own to pay roughly $54 a month for treatment. Even if you have a wave of people quitting, it would take a lot for all 2 million or even 1 million customers to quit. If you're a healthcare company that's earlier in the value chain, let's say you're a medical device company, all it takes is some bureaucrat at the CMS to decide that the billing code needs to change, and thus you're out and you may lose all of your business. So in healthcare, it's rare, but this business has very low concentration risk in my view. Then moving on, HIMSS has a deeply personal, recession-proof product, and you know that why? Because they deal with things like ED, they deal with things like hair loss, like weight loss, like anxiety, like mental health, like heart health. They have a long list, and you can go on the website and look at the list. They do skincare, they do acne, they do rosacea, they do all sorts of minor health issues, but issues that are deeply personal. And therefore, they are recession-proof, because I guarantee you that if someone is satisfied with, say, their ED drug, well, they don't want their marriage to go south, and so they're going to keep paying the $50, probably, most likely. And so that's why this is a business that's very, 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 very sticky. Same for hair loss, right? A lot of people are affected psychologically by losing their hair. That's why they have a great business with hair loss. Also with women who are losing their hair, they also provide that, and it's a great business for them. So all of these businesses are very sticky, very recession-proof, recurring. Then, who's the competition to HIMSS? Well, HIMSS is partnering with the physicians, with the doctors, with it's mostly nurse practitioners that are their providers, but they're a partner, they're a network with them. So I wouldn't say they compete directly with doctors. It's more like they co-opete with doctors. I.e., some doctors compete with HIMSS. You work at a clinic, you provide these treatments, you compete with HIMSS, but some of them work with HIMSS because they're on that platform. So it's not a clear competitor. The clear competitor, though, is definitely the retail pharmacies, the Walgreens and the CVS's of the world, and we know that these main competitors are in trouble. They're struggling. So you have a virtuous cycle in that the more successful HIMSS get, the worse retail pharmacies are doing. And so you have a virtuous loop in the case of HIMSS, because, that means way less competition, because Walgreens, how many pharmacies did they close? Last month, they announced 2,100 pharmacies they were closing last month. That's why some of my videos, I've titled them, Do We Need 45,000 Retail Pharmacies? And the answer to that is not. So you kind of have this accelerating factor in that the legacy solution is dying. Because the legacy solution is dying, if you live in a medium-sized town, if you live in a small neighborhood, maybe your retail pharmacy just shut down. And so for you, all of these online solutions become so much more compelling because the local pharmacy just shut down, right? Same is happening, this is a tangent, of course, but same is happening with, say a Tesla. What's going to happen in some neighborhoods when actually gas pumps go away, because you're losing 10, 15, 20% of your customers is enough for you to go under because you have a bunch of debt on your building and you can't service the debt. This is what's happening to the pharmacies. They are losing 15 to 20% of a business, but as a retail pharmacy, if you lose 20% of a business, that means you go out of business because you can't service the debt on your building. So they have a virtuous cycle going on in the sense that their competition, their main competition, which is the pharmacies, they're dying. Okay, HIMSS is also a best product at the lowest cost, and this requires development. This is qualitative analysis here on HIMSS. What's the best product at the lowest cost? Well, you're very familiar with what that means. If you follow my channel, you know that that's 0 to 1. That's a blue ocean strategy. That's a 0 to 1 strategy. That's a strategy where you strive to get to the monopoly as fast as you can because your product is both better and cheaper, right? That's the story of Gmail. Gmail is better and cheaper. That's the story of YouTube. It's better and cheaper. The story of Spotify. Spotify, 100 million songs. I don't know, $7.99, $8.99 a month, 100 million songs. It is 6 orders of magnitude cheaper than buying a CD back in 1995. 6 orders of magnitude, 100 million times better. Anyways, that's this type of business for you. So HIMSS is a best product. Why is HIMSS a best product? Well, because of compounded medications. They do custom treatments, and in fact roughly half the people who use HIMSS roughly have custom options and custom treatments for HIMSS. This is something that you can do with large highly automated warehouse pharmacies with an AI recommender system telling you how many milligrams of each molecule, each active ingredient, how many milligrams you have to put in a pill. You have the AI recommender system just dosing the exact amount based on your weight, based on your needs, and it's compounded. And so not every single pill, but as far as HIMSS is concerned, roughly half of what they sell is compounded. It is custom designed for you. You know, the old way, the options are, I don't know, 10 milligrams or 20 milligrams. That's the option. Well, what if you need 7.5 milligram in the real world? Well, if you need 7.5 milligram in the real world, you're stuck. You don't have a choice. It's either too much or too little, and you end up with odd recommendations like, why don't you cut the pill in half? You know, this is not the Amazon way of doing business. This is not customer friendly, customer-centric. What is the customer-centric way of doing business is you put the customer first and you do everything for them so they don't have to do anything. And this is called compounding medication. And you can see if you go on their website, they're pushing this all over. Anytime you see their doctor trusted or the offerings that they offer, you know, mental health, sexual health, all sorts of health, skincare. Every time, it scrolls on their website and it says, personalized to you, personalized to you, personalized to you. Everything is personalized to you. And I'm just going to show one example, which is their ED and heart health combo. So they for customers that may need both, which a lot of these minor health issues are actually correlated. This is an example of their pill. This is a red pill, and you can see the marketing. You can see the HIMSS brand, and that pill is going to be customized, and it's going to put the exact amount of either tadalafil or sildenafil that you need. So it's not going to be 50 milligram. It's going to be the exact amount for you, and it's going to also put in that same pill atorvastatin, right? A statin for heart health. It's going to put the same thing, and it's going to combine it in a single pill, and you take a single pill. So in the old world, in the legacy world, in the analog world, you go to the pharmacy, you pick up your statin tablets, you pick up your sildenafil tablets, and then you put them in a pill pack, and you take one and you take one, and you don't feel good. You feel sick because the branding, frankly, on these generics, the branding doesn't make you feel good. HIMSS, you take, I don't know, let's take another example. They have their climax delay and ED pill. They call it hard mints. You use hard mints. You don't use, I think it is bupropion. I can't remember which one. You don't use bupropion and Viagra as two separate pills and feel sick taking the pill. It's really taking a customer-centric approach. Yes, it is unfortunate that the customer has a health issue, but the customer does not need to feel bad about it. And this is also what I would refer to a kind of a gold standard. I put pharmacy in there, but it's really a gold standard in business, which is if a patient only has one pill to take, they're more likely to take the pill. And you see this with the elderly. Sometimes the elderly, they have 15, 20 pills to take. How likely are they to take all of these pills? They are very likely to forget them. And you're likely, sometimes one pill you're likely to forget. And so the fact that HIMSS is able to compound medication in custom pills with multiple treatments, multiple medications that you may need, all put in one single pill, in my view, is a 0-1 move. It is arguably a better way to approach pharmacy-based treatments, and it's the best. It's the best because of that. And it's also the cheapest. And so to understand why it's the cheapest, well, we need to understand the business model innovation behind HIMSS. So obviously, if you don't have insurance, it's the natural choice. And many folks, more and more folks, especially young people, do not see the value of insurance anymore. There's another type of people. You have the FIRE people, retire early movement. They all want to get into the high deductible health plans, those that don't cover much, but you get a special savings account. There's a whole bunch of reasons why people go without insurance. And if you're in that case, well, it's a natural choice for you, right? But what if you have insurance? What if you have insurance via your job? Is it still the cheapest? And this is where you need to look into this and actually realize that in many cases it is the cheapest, because, well, in the real world, what do you get? Let's say you want to get treated for ED. You get the doctor visit, and you may get the ping pong. Doctor visit plus ping pong is how I say it. So, for example, most care requires at least one doctor visit per year, because it's very rare that you're going to have a prescription that's going to be for like decades. So most doctors are going to want to see you every year. So that doctor visit you're going to have to pay for every year, because you're going to need to get your refills. That's point number one. Now, if you're lucky, if you have a great doctor, and this is a matter of chance, if you're lucky, you may get some of these treatments that you need, you may get them addressed in your physical. And physical is often, if not always, depending on the plans, but it's often a very low cost visit, and you may say, oh, it's free, I get it addressed within my physical. So if you're lucky, that could be the case. So that's why I say the cost could be zero, but I don't think that's the most common way. That's the most common outcome. I think the more likely thing is that you want to get a issue addressed. You decide you're tired with ED and you want to get it addressed. Well, the odds are the moment, or you have anxiety and you want to get it addressed, the odds are the moment you decide to get it addressed are not going to align with your yearly physical. And because it doesn't align with your yearly physical, you're going to have an office visit. And if you have very good insurance, the office visit is going to be something like $25. Now, $25, we're already getting into the margins of HIMSS, and we're already getting into the same scale. But anyways, it's still cheap, right? $25 is still cheap, and that's a common copay with good insurance. Now, if you have a high deductible insurance, or if you have no insurance, or if you've maxed out on your quota, more likely you're going to pay $200 for that office visit without insurance. And then you're going to have two issues when you do that. You're going to have the first issue is, well, if you get started on the drug, guess what? They're going to want to see you again in a month or in 3 months. And rightfully so. It's good medical practice. They're going to give you a 30-day prescription, and they're going to let me see you again in a month. Well, guess what? HIMSS covers the follow-ups. Follow-ups are covered by HIMSS, right? Follow-ups are not necessarily covered by your insurance. So if you're a high deductible thing, it's $200, and then it's another $200 for a follow-up, and then a year later, it's another $200 to get a new prescription. So this is one form of ping pong, and in this case, it's ping pong between the doctor and the pharmacy. You go see the doctor, they send you to the pharmacy. You come back and see the doctor, they send you to the pharmacy again, and you go to the pharmacy, and it's been 12 months, and then you go back to the doctor who sends you back to the pharmacy. That's one form of ping pong. Another form of ping pong is this one. Let's say you go see a family medicine doctor in your town. You pay your $200 or $150 or whatever, and you say you're coming for ED drugs, and for any reason they're not comfortable giving you the ED drug. It could be any reason. It could be liability. They haven't prescribed it in a while. It could also be, I don't know, the doctor just doesn't want to hear about your ED issues, and they're like, okay, well, let me give you and I would argue the dreaded, if you pay out of pocket, the dreaded referral. And so they give you a referral. Oh, I can't address that with you. There's going to be a referral. I'm going to refer you to a urologist. And so $200, urologist, maybe probably more than $200 as a specialist. So you pay once, and then you get referred to the urologist. You pay again, and then of course the urologist may want to see you 90 days later to see how you're doing, and you pay again, and then you pay again 12 months later. So it could be $400, could be $600, could be $800, depending on this ping pong between practitioners. And so that is why I said that it's actually much cheaper to go with HIMSS. And by the way, once you go with all of that, you actually haven't paid for your medication just yet. You haven't paid for the medication. So anyways, how does HIMSS do it? Well, HIMSS bundles unlimited visits with the cost of your medication. It's just the medication, and then you have unlimited follow-ups, unlimited visits. The visits are free. The cost of a doctor visit is bundled in your monthly medication. If the doctor says that you don't qualify, for whatever reason, your health is not good enough to qualify for that drug, then there is no prescription, and then you don't pay. And try to go see a physical clinic and say, I want to get my $200 refund because the doctor didn't help me with what I thought I was going to get help with. The doctors thought they couldn't help me. Right? HIMSS, if they can't help you, you don't pay. This is how we do business in the 21st century. Any app you register to, you try it out for a month, you're not happy with the app, you get a refund. Right? This is the modern way of doing business. I love this very much. If the doctor can't help you, it's only fair that you don't pay. And I realize that, of course, it's tough in an analog world to think like this, because you're like, okay, well, the time was invested into the matter. But this is not the Amazon way. The customer-centric way is pleasing the customer. And that is how you gain a 0-to-1 business. That is how you grow your business fast. That is how you achieve monopoly-like businesses. And I'm not saying HIMSS is going to be a monopoly. There's going to be competition, of course. But sure enough, in the space, if you look at this space, HIMSS is the biggest player ever. And Row or Mango or all of these competitors are very, very tiny compared to HIMSS. And so we see these behaviors, these winner-take-most behaviors in a company like HIMSS. Finishing up on why is it cheaper? The cost of medication. Let's talk about the cost of medication. Well, actually, the cost of medication maybe a little higher, but this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with most medication with HIMSS is about $50 a month, and maybe with your insurance it's going to be $30 a month, 30 or 25. This is what we're dealing with, but in fact it's really not. It's really not, because if you study the sector, you may realize that your insurance doesn't get you the cheapest price. If you're a savvy navigator of healthcare and you understand healthcare, you may realize that the cheapest price is actually not using your insurance and using an app like GoodRx or shopping on Amazon or Cost Plus Drugs or whatever. So if you're already a savvy shopper of medicine, yes, you may be able to get it slightly cheaper by going on your own and using an app with GoodRx. I would argue the cost of medication is slightly more expensive than with insurance, but really it really depends on your insurance. And at the end of the day, because HIMSS deals with inexpensive to treat issues, you're only going to talk about saving $20, $30 a month. That's what you're going to be talking about, right? Versus potentially paying, I don't know, $800, $600, $1,000 of doctors' visits worth in a year. And not to even mention the convenience, the convenience of not having to drive to the cheapest pharmacy in your town. I see it in my area. GoodRx always shows Randall being the cheapest in my area. Well, they're not. It's a long drive, so I don't know if that makes any sense what I'm saying. But GoodRx is gonna find you the cheapest, but you have to go out of your way to try to get the cheapest, and it's a coupon app, right? Hims, you have the convenience, you have the Amazon-like convenience on this one, so that's why Hims is the best product at the lowest cost. It is the best and it is the cheapest. It is the best because of a custom product, a custom medication, and it is the cheapest because you remove the risk, you remove the transparency associated with the pricing of a doctor visit in the legacy sector. And I think that is a big deal to remove that transparency because a lot of people want the transparency, especially as Amazon has taught us to require and want transparency. Another thing that strengthens my conviction for Hims, and this is another topic altogether, but that's the topic of vertical integration. Vertical integration is tremendous in modern day businesses. You need to be vertically integrated. There's no such thing as a disparate value chain with middlemen today. Tesla, if you take a company like Tesla, there's no value chain for Tesla. Tesla makes the engines, they make the handle, they make the electricity, they make the maintenance, they own the cars, they sell the cars, they finance the cars, they do the dealerships. Businesses are vertically integrated nowadays. And Hims, being a digital-first company, they started with that vertical integration. So what does vertical integration looks like? Well, first of all, it's a branded drug. You own your brands, right? In the old world, you have a clinic brand prescribes big pharma brand. So that would be like your local clinic prescribes Viagra. In the vertical integrated way, it's Hims prescribes hard mints by Hims. Hard mints by Hims. If you want hard mints trademark, you have to go through Hims. They created that brand. Those two brands they created and they own, which is why they are vertically integrated early on in the customer acquisition process. Moving down to the customer acquisition process, they own their customer acquisition. They advertise. It's not a local doctor who advertises for their clinic. It's Hims who advertises for their platform. Now, moving on to the platform, it's a two-sided online platform where you get to see a doctor and you get to see a patient. Same again, they own that platform. They don't have to own a medical office building and have people drive to a medical office building. No, they own that platform. They have their own patient management records system, electronic patient record system. They develop that. They own that. They don't have to outsource that to that big company in Minnesota. I can't remember the name right now, but it's the huge company, Epic. They don't have to outsource that to Epic and give some money to Epic. They don't have to do that. They own the software, right? They own the warehouse, right? Columbus and Phoenix, two big warehouses that they own, and they do the compounding there. It's their own packaging. It's their own handling. Of course, they don't have a shipping company like Amazon, so they're not vertically integrated that way. I guess you can't vertically integrate everything, but they still their own packaging and shipping and handling. And now they're even starting to make the drugs. That's why they bought that lab in Los Angeles. They're going to make liraglutide. Right, that's why they have a Teva Pharmaceutical board member, the leading in generic drugs, is one of the former CEOs of the leader in generic medication, is now on the board of Hims, and they're getting advice on how to make their own drugs. So I wouldn't be surprised if Hims starts manufacturing its own. I don't know. Could they manufacture their own metformin or whatever? Probably not enough margin on there, but I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they started manufacturing their own compound. Moving on to Hims. Hims is very agile. The company has very few employees. The employees work very hard and they move very fast. And if you follow this company, you know how fast they move. They remind me of, say, a SoFi, how quickly they move. The CEO, I can't remember, it was a few quarters ago, the CEO says, "Oh, we're about to release this." And then 3 days later, it's already released. That's how fast this company moves. And you can see them sometimes on Twitter because the HIMS community is growing. Sometimes you'll have people tweeting at the CEO and say, hey, there's a problem on this page. And the CEO tweets and says, oh yeah, on it. And they tweet the employee at the employee so that the employee goes ahead and fixes it, right? This is a modern business, modern company, modern tools of communication, right? Slack, not emails, all sorts of stuff like that allow these companies to move so fast to have that velocity in the way they operate. And that's why I believe over the long run, competition is not a problem if you're able to respond really quickly to the competition. HIMS, and this is another one, HIMS has blockbuster meds. They sell blockbuster product. Of course, the first blockbuster product that started the company were ED drugs. ED drugs in their day and in their own right, they were major successes, major blockbusters. Viagra comes to mind as the big blockbuster. Today's blockbuster drug are the weight loss drugs. And what do they do with the GLP-1s, right? The weight loss drugs. What do they do with the GLP-1s? Well, they have compounded semaglutide. That's likely going to go away at some point in Q1 or Q2. And that's okay, because when it goes away, they're going to have their own compounded, well, I guess it won't be compounded. It will be HIMS branded liraglutide. It will be generic. They will make their own generic liraglutide, which is the very first GLP-1 that is now off patent and that they can manufacture, and they're going to launch that at least in H1 of 2025, if not Q1 of 2025. And so that's the catalyst today. That's being able to offer GLP-1 today is the big catalyst. And the last one, and I'll conclude with that, is that HIMS is readying itself, and in my view will be ready when inevitably AI doctors come, because then it's updating the app. It's all about I could have put the app in vertical integration. It's all about updating the app. You update the app, and boom, all of a sudden, instead of a two-sided platform with providers on the platform, you just have an AI on the other side, and you have a customer who speaks with the AI, and who knows when that will come. That will come when regulation changes. But when regulation changes, regulation is likely to start at the lower end of the health issues. I think AI doctors, they are more likely to be a thing for low stakes health issues than for quote unquote bigger stakes health issues, which is not what HIMS focuses on. HIMS focuses on really the minor stuff, right? Which if you follow my channel, for example, LifeMD does harder things. They do harder things. They do physicals. They do some urgent care. They do harder things at LifeMD. At HIMS, they do the easy things. That's how they focus. This is not to say that we will not move into more complex treatments. They've been talking about diabetes, for example, for a long time. One thing I could have added to there is that there's a major runway for them. Let me add it now. There's a major runway. One of the big ones, of course, for them is going to be diabetes, and it's an easy addition. If you're going into GLP-1s, diabetes is going to be an easy addition for them, and the market size on this is just insane. Another market, but they need to be more advanced and have a more experienced provider base. But another market is HRT. HRT is hormone replacement therapy, also very popular and would fit really well with the HIMS brand, especially hormone therapy. That's things like testosterone, etc. These are all major things that have yet to come for HIMS. So I cannot emphasize enough how I feel about this company and how I feel about the opportunity. Right now, it's sitting at a 4.5x for me. Like 4 weeks ago, was it almost a 6x? Anyways, it's an amazing company, and I'm still buying at these levels. So I love it very much. Of course, this was not financial advice. This is not investment advice, not health advice, not advice of any kind. This is just entertainment, and I'm hoping you were entertained. Please like, please subscribe, follow me on Patreon, follow me on X. I appreciate all of the follows and all of the likes and all of the comments. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.